All right. Well, hey, here we go. We are about a week and a half away from the end of the semester, which is crazy to think about. Um, you have done a phenomenal job. So I was reading through your case study responses, your responses to Schwen and Bat. I mean, just like, man, this is great, great stuff. So thank you for your contributions to the learning experience. What you have done will surely stay with us for quite some time as we kind of progress. I mean, you won't be in the class anymore, but future students will certainly benefit from the contributions you have made to this class. So the artifacts you've shared, some great artifacts. Thank you for that. Conversations, things I'll be reflecting on. Yeah, you should have hopefully both heard from me or seen the email correspondence just to say great job. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for taking this class seriously despite kind of the abnormal, unique way we're offering the course and all of that. So let me say it again. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions and just your thoughtfulness and your responses. So there was a great question that was asked, and I'm going to paraphrase this. It's not exactly how it was asked, but basically, how do I kind of develop my skill sets? How do I get to do more of this type of work? It was basically said, I'm interested potentially in having this kind of be another, arrow in my quiver, another skill set, another, hammer in my tool belt, whatever you want to say. I'm interested in potentially doing more of this. So how do I do that? And I think there's a couple ways. You do this. One thing is, one of the great things when you're done with your master's degree in clinical psychology, you will be what has been deemed a, how do they word it? I think it's educationally eligible practitioner through the Myers-Briggs company. So you may not have gone through the specific Myers-Briggs training to go through the step 1 and step 2 training. However, you, by way of your psychological training in the clinical psych program, have been deemed as educationally eligible to purchase and administer the assessment. So I think one thing that I would encourage you to do, in addition to obviously completing your hours for for licensure, both as an LPC and an MFT, do them both. It would be my encouragement. Is to get some certifications, to get some additional training. And I'm a big fan of getting the biggest bang for the smallest buck, okay? And I genuinely mean that, the biggest bang for the smallest buck. So I'll put all this in an email, but basically here's some ways that I got started in this work. So I don't know if I think I mentioned I applied for 217 jobs in 9 months, had a really hard go at it, and I said I'm going to do everything I can to help people progress through their challenges so they don't have to experience the same things that I did. So I started to write resumes for people. I started to kind of, based upon my experience, what I saw was helpful in getting more feedback, getting more responses from people, from potential employers. I just had a bad resume and I made a good resume, and that's what helped. Helping people to think about the narration that's used in their cover letters. So I started to help with that. Started to help with making connections. Oh, you need to know this person because they're offering this job, or you need to, I think I've got a great person that could fill that position. I just started to connect people, to resource people. I went and started getting some certifications. So I took advantage of the educationally eligible practitioner status with my master's degree in the social sciences. So I started to do that, and so now I was able to administer. I discovered an organization called GS Consultants, which, without going into the whole history and details of that organization, just suffice to say, it's the only organization that has been permitted to offer MBTI and strong interest inventory training online. Okay, and there's some rationale and reasons behind that, but basically what you've been given in this degree is not just the degree itself, not just the avenue to licensure, but it gives you the eligibility to administer and to interpret the Myers-Briggs and the strong interest inventory, which the strong interest inventory is basically the Holland codes that we looked at, that was talked about in our text throughout this semester. That said, I didn't feel super comfortable administering and interpreting the assessments without getting some training. So I went to the GS Consultants organization, and I did the Step 2 training for Myers-Briggs, which there's Step 1 and there's Step 2. And there's actually Step 3, and then there's a Master Practitioner. Step 1 is the 1 to 2 page printout that you are given that basically tells you if you're an extrovert or an introvert. Step 2 is 17 pages. It's much more involved, and it gives you the heart of type. Without going into detail, it's much more involved, and I think it's much more valid, and it's much more helpful for the client, and as I took it myself, much more helpful for me. So that's one thing. I went after some certifications. I then got certified as a Master of Career Practitioner, I think is what, and they changed it. So now I'm a Certified Master of Career Services. This was many years back. So I went and got some credentials after my name. I'm currently, although I've been teaching this class for 8 years and doing this work for about 11 years, I said I want to get some additional training. So I'm taking a program right now at Chico State in Career and Life Planning, which will, when I'm done, give me the designation as a Global Career Development Facilitator. So I'll be a CMCS and a GCDF. I'll have a Career and Life Planning graduate work under my belt, along with my degree in Leadership Studies, Social Sciences, and Organizational Development and Change. I'll have been a practicing career coach for about 11 years, 12 years by the time I'm done. So I've just kind of been doing this stuff, and you pick it up and you just start doing more of it. Interview prep. I mean, a lot of it is, it's not rocket science, but you just have to do it. You have to do more of it, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. Probably maybe 7 years ago was when I said I'm going to start charging for this, and so I started to charge for this work, and people started paying for this work because the one thing that people want kind of across the board is a good job. And when you think about, let's say you get a job that pays $70,000 a year, if you paid $800 to help you figure out what it is that you want to do, that's a fraction of the cost of your overall annual salary. So I'm willing to invest that money. I'm not talking thousands of dollars, talking hundreds of dollars. And that hundreds of dollars is getting people, clients, a lot closer to where they want to end up. So I'm more than happy to have an additional conversation with you offline if you're interested in thinking about more of this type of work. I think it's really fulfilling. I think good jobs change people's lives, and it's something you can feel really good about because ethically, morally, obviously, legally, all these different things. It's great. It's not immoral. It's not unethical. It's not illegal. So those are kind of my baselines. If it's not those three things, I'm good with it. But then the fact that I'm actually helping to better people's lives is really fulfilling to me as well. So that's just kind of a really brief overview. I'll give you all these resources. I'll email them to you. I'll put them in, probably in this announcement video. I'll put them at the bottom of that, or somehow I'll make it clear where to find the information. Okay. But if you have more questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help with that. All right. So, okay, this week we have. Let's see, it's our final unit. We've got integration of theory and practice, so kind of we're tying a bow on this thing and bringing it to a conclusion. You've got your final case study out of Tang, so number 8, and then you have the final assignments, okay? So and you've got a couple of chapters still here to read. If you look in the syllabus on page, I believe it's page 8, you'll see at the very top we have, and I'm looking to the left because I've got a separate screen here, so you have Bloom's taxonomy, okay? And I think I mentioned this at the beginning. This is a graduate course, so we're focused on not remembering or understanding, but we really want to focus on applying up. So apply, analyze, evaluate, and then create. Okay. So in these final assignments, obviously they're not real life, nor are the case studies, though potentially those are things that could be happening on a regular basis. These are all helping to prepare you for life on the other side of your education. Okay. So a potential career in these spaces, all right? So we want you to create, we want you to analyze, we want you to critically kind of think through, to evaluate, and obviously the application, right? So execute, implement, solve, use all those different realities, okay? Because I always told students when I was teaching full-time, and I'll say it again here in this adjunct role, is I don't really care about your success as a student, okay? And when I pause and students go, man, you are so mean, you're so cold-hearted, what I mean by that is I'm much more interested in your success as a professional. So, and you should be too, by the way, right? So are we not just doing a good job to help you succeed academically, but are we doing a good job to help you, to set you up to be successful as a professional, right? Are you getting the education and the training so that when you leave the academic world where you get this degree, you are, given the right skill set to be successful professionally from a practitioner standpoint when you are an actual therapist working with actual live clients, right? So that's the main concern. So, and I do think that the sign of a good faculty member is not preparing good students, preparing good practitioners. And the sign of a good practitioner, or in your case, licensed professional, is not just academic success, but academic success absolutely does lead to a much more significant possibility of professional success, right? So in these final assignments that you're working on, this is a chance for you kind of to, I guess you could say, play career counselor. Okay, so you can read through these. There's a synthesis document. It's worth 5 points. It's a simple 2-page document detailing the most significant learnings and takeaways from the semester. Okay, what theories stood out the most? What techniques will stay with you? What will you practically be utilizing in future counseling sessions and relationships, etc.? The document should include a brief overview, discussion of what was thought. What did you think about career counseling before the class, and now after the class? What do you think? What were the new ideas that were learned, and so forth? Okay. You should consider at least 2 theories and 2 techniques, along with 3 questions that were answered, and a brief overview discussion of why the class was meaningful. Seems like a lot. Just write it out. Okay. Kind of stream of consciousness. Be very clear, and basically I want this to be kind of your report on why this class was meaningful for you. Okay, this is due Friday at midnight of this next week. All right, so the end of basically the final second, literally, of this spring semester. Okay, the second one is a treatment plan. I'm going to go kind of real quickly on this. And this is you responding to what you find in Appendix B, the case of Leslie, okay? And you can read through this, but I want you to use what you find in Chapter 3 of Treatment Plan and Career Counseling, okay? And I want you to include in your treatment plan the following sections: intake, case conceptualization, goal development, constructing objectives, interventions, evaluation, and termination, okay? Keep in mind, you may not have all of the information, okay? So you may have to conjure up some of the details to make some specific assumptions in how you would work with Leslie, okay? This is not a 27-page document. I'm not looking to see what the entire counseling relationship would look like. I'm looking for you to start and show me at least one process, right, that would include all of those different sections, okay, how you would approach working with a client, okay? So you'll refer to the case. There's a template to refer to, the case of Gary, which we find in Chapter 12 of the intake assessment. The treatment plan and career counseling. Okay. So when you are looking at what we're covering this unit, you'll see that we're covering LibTAC Chapter 11 and Chapter 12. So you need to obviously make sure you read those chapters so you can refer properly to Chapter 12, which is the case of Gary, all right? Of course, your response will be based upon Leslie, and Leslie's case is pulled from another book that we no longer use, but I think is a really, really good case for you to, again, play career counselor as, okay? Now, again, as you can read through, it says clearly you won't be able to address every issue or option that could, or you could say should, be addressed. What are the most important aspects of Leslie's story that need to be addressed, okay? What would be your goal at the end of this brief encounter? How would you bring even a little resolve to the situation during the first meeting, and so forth, okay? Second goal, the goal with this second part of the final assignment is not to solve all of her problems or issues, but rather to show you've thoroughly and critically thought through your approach and how you might address the situation, okay? A complete response to the assignment will be somewhere between 7 to 10 pages in length. More than that is not necessary, and less cannot fully complete the assignment in a thorough and thoughtful manner, all right? So you're going to talk through how you would approach this situation. Don't give me bullet points, give me some narrative. There might be some bullet points within there, but give me specifics. What assessments would you use? What theory would you refer to? What techniques would you approach with, right? Why would you do what it is that you're doing, and so on and so forth. Be as specific as you can, realizing that you're not going to address everything. One of the questions that was asked is, what is a typical time frame for a career counseling relationship? I work with clients on 4-week time frames. We meet about one specific thing every week for 4 weeks. Yours could be shorter, yours could be longer. My approach, this is mine, is 4 weeks. Okay? So you're not going to go over all 4 weeks. I want to see that you can show me clearly that you've thought through it and you know where you're headed. Okay? If you have any questions, feel feel free to call me, or I guess email me. If you like talk on the phone, email me and I'll give you my phone number. We can talk about that too. All right? I'm really looking forward to your final assignments. Any questions, let me know how I can help. Have a great final week, and we'll see you online.